Hello, I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, and in this video I will be going briefly over how to understand the North and the South Node. So you don't see North and South Node written here, but um, this is a context from an astrological perspective. So from a Western context, this is known as North Node versus South Node. However, from a Vedic or an Indian perspective, this is known as Rahu and Ketu. Now, what is interesting about this is that it is not an actual planetary body. This is actually an intersection of two bodies, the sun and the moon. And so in astrology, the moon is considered a planetary body. So the shadow or the intersection that is created and generated, these are the places where the actual eclipse takes place. So this is an actual close-up of the moon. This particular picture won several awards, but this is the near side, considered the near side of the moon. And there are certain principles that take place. And traditionally, the astrological perspective is more of a geocentric perspective, which means that the perspective is from the Earth being at the center and then all of the planetary bodies revolving around the Earth, when in reality we then made the discovery that it was more of a heliocentric world. But the same principles still apply, and you're actually able to see how these areas are generated. So let me try to demonstrate this in a drawing. So taking a look at how this is created from a heliocentric perspective, if you imagine the sun is the center and then the Earth making a revolution along the ecliptic, then of course you have the Earth, and imagine that this is the Earth. The Earth is making revolutions around the Sun in a counterclockwise manner, and then at the same time you actually have the Moon making a revolution around the Earth. So this is taking place at approximately 5 degrees away from the revolution of the Earth. So this is difficult to draw, but the idea is if the shadow were to be cast in either one of these areas, then there would not be an eclipse formed. However, if the nodes are cast here, both the north and the south node, then in these particular angles, an appropriate eclipse will take place. So going kind of into what the definition is, so these are areas where there is an intersection between the revolution of the Earth, roughly speaking, and the revolution of the Moon around the Sun. So now transitioning over from a heliocentric perspective, where the Sun is at the center of the solar system, to taking kind of the perspective of the ancients and seeing the stars as having a geocentric perspective, which means that the Earth is the central planetary body and the Sun and the Moon are revolving around the Earth. So if we were to take this model and understand it, Rahu and Ketu, or North Node and South Node, from this perspective, then this is how that would look like. So for starters, the Sun would not be at the center of the Earth. So then we were to draw a revolution of the sun around the Earth. And then you would have, with a 5-degree angle, the revolution of the moon would be off from the revolution of the sun. So this is the revolution. And so when these cross, these are the places for North Node versus South Node. So only in these areas do the eclipses take place. So what is interesting here in summary is that this is not actually a true planetary body. This is a shadow cast by multiple planetary bodies. So it can be viewed as having a composite effect within your kundali, your astrological sign and chart. So understanding this and understanding the idea of transformation. And I have spoken before about the connection between alchemy, the Ouroboros, and the symbol of the dragon. And this is no exception from the perspective of Vedic astrology, and the story of Rahu and Ketu and the churning of the oceans, and what took place during that time. And there was a mix-up that ensued, and some confusion between the Devas and the Asuras. So if you get a chance, encourage you to take a look at that story, and then see how this plays out within the natal chart, or within your own astrological chart. Thank you for listening.